What's the cruelest thing a teacher ever said to you? Mrs. Jacobs kept a photo of her Harvard-educated son on her desk, angled so every student could see it during meetings. I was staring at it when she told me I'd never amount to anything. MIT? She actually laughed. Sweetheart, you're not that kind of smart. I had straight A's, perfect SATs, and had just won the state science fair. But I also qualified for free lunch, and my dad drove a taxi. What kind of smart am I then? She leaned back, pearls clicking against her chair. You're scrappy smart, street smart, the kind that would do well in trades. My nephew does electrical work, makes $60,000 a year. I want to be a scientist, and I wanted to marry Paul Newman. She pushed my college applications back across her desk, unsigned. The difference is I grew up. When I kept arguing, she got mean. Your essay about your father driving nights to pay rent? That's not inspiring, it's depressing. Princeton doesn't want sob stories. They want leaders, legacy, and potential donors, not charity cases who'll drop out when the money runs dry. I went home and told my dad. He sat quietly for a long moment, then asked to see my applications. Who else can sign these? The principal maybe, or the district coordinator. Then we go to them. Dad, if she finds out, what? She'll tell you you're not good enough? Already did that. The principal signed them after my dad waited 6 hours in his office, called it a miscommunication with Mrs. Jacobs. 3 months later, acceptance letters started arriving. MIT at Yale, Princeton with a full ride. Mrs. Jacobs called me into her office. Who signed your recommendations? Someone who thought I was the right kind of smart. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know which kids make it and which ones what. She stared at me. Which ones belong? I graduated from MIT in 3 years. Started my PhD at 21. By 25, I'd published research that got me recruited to a tenure track. At 27, I became the youngest professor in my department. The week before my doctoral ceremony, I got an email. Budget cuts had created this full circle program where districts sent representatives to hand out diplomas. My district sent Mrs. Jacobs. She stood at that podium in the same pearls, holding my doctorate in chemical engineering. When they called, Dr. Sarah Martinez, I watched her face change as she realized who I was. I walked across that stage, took my diploma, and she grabbed my wrist. Wait, the next graduate was already coming. She spoke fast, quietly. My son dropped out of Harvard, 3rd year. Couldn't handle the pressure. He works for his father now. I looked at her, really looked. She seemed smaller somehow. At least he got the chance to fail, I said. She let go of my wrist. My dad was in the audience, recording on his phone. He'd closed his taxi service for the day, losing $300 to watch me graduate. When I found him after, he was crying. What did she say to you up there? Nothing important. But that night, I looked up her son, found his LinkedIn, business consultant for his dad's firm. Last post was about battling anxiety and imposter syndrome, how Harvard had broken something in him he was still trying to fix. I almost messaged him. Almost said I understood that the pressure of proving everyone wrong was its own kind of poison. That some nights I still heard his mother's voice telling me I didn't belong. And maybe that's what drove me to work 18-hour days until my hands shook from too much caffeine and not enough food. Instead, I blocked them both and went back to my lab, published another paper, won another award. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Mrs. Jacobs had just signed those forms, if I'd gone to college feeling supported instead of spite-driven, if I'd become a scientist because I loved it, not because someone said I couldn't. My dad framed the photo from graduation, Mrs. Jacobs handing me my diploma, her face frozen in something between recognition and regret. He hung it in his taxi, tells every passenger the story. That's the woman who said my daughter wasn't college material, he says. Now my daughter teaches college.